Good evening, world. This is Yuri, aka Russian Prototype. It's Monday, August 30th, and tonight we are talking about another yet fascinating topic. And this topic is: does the age gap difference matter in relationships? Let's make this thing scroll on the bottom, shall we? So that way anyone who joins can see what exactly we're going to talk about tonight. This is a good one. And this was actually suggested by one of you. You know how it goes when I get your suggestions. I like to be able to bring some of these things into discussion. And this was one of those suggestions that just made sense because I think it happens quite a bit in today's culture. We see the age disparity in relationships. I think it's a common theme at this point, right? We see that a lot of older dudes dating younger women. We see that younger guys trying to chase after older women as well. Um, so it works both ways. And why not talk about it? The coolest thing about this community, about the prototypes, shout out to all the prototypes, is that you're not only giving me ideas for the content, you actually giving me the content a lot of times. And so this time, one of you sent me an email um, and shared a heartfelt story, personal story about the age gap that they experience in their own relationships. And they kindly offered me the opportunity to share their story with everyone. And when I read it, I was touched. I thought that that was, uh, you know, um, such a great story in so many different ways. And I wanted to share it with the community, of course. So this is what I would like to do today. I would like to read it to you verbatim, um, so you can hear it, see it, experience it, and then we can have a discussion as always. Let's see who is here today or tonight. Acknowledge some of my wonderful community members. We have DM in the house. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. We have Heather in the house. Hello, Heather. Appreciate you. We have Felicia in the house. Felicia was visiting this last weekend. We got to do some fun things together. Went to Kennedy Space Center, ate some Russian food. Felicia thought that Russian cakes were simply incredible, and it changed her life. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it. It was great to see you in person and great to hang out with you. Shout out to Felicia. Becky is in the house. Hello, Becky. Thanks for being here. We have Bianca in the house. Hello, hello. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you. We have Kaya in the house. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for hanging out. Um, let's see. I mean, I suppose we can just jump in. We can just jump in into the story. If you are joining the live stream, remember that I cannot see who you are unless you leave a comment. And also, a quick reminder, be sure to smash this like button. Leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know your thoughts on tonight's topic. Does the age gap difference matter in the relationships? Please let me know in the comments. We're going to go through a personal story that I think will be amazing. And then I would like to know your thoughts. So, what I want, couple things that I want you to think about as we're going through this story. Do you think that age gap matter in the relationships? Yes or no? And then tell me why you think it matters or why you don't think it matters. I think that's going to make it for meaningful discussion. All right. Hopefully, internet will be good tonight. I have it connected with a hard wire, so I'm very hopeful. Looks like Emma's in the house. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here. Great, great to see you. We also have Juana Gutierrez. Hello, Juana. Thank you for joining. All right. Oh, and we're also sorry. Shante is in the house as well. Hello, Shante. I think you're watching from UK, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you for being a part of tonight's live stream. All right, let's go ahead and jump in, my friends, shall we? And let's read it as it came in the email. Let's do this. Hold on, before we go, it's a story time. So you already know that we need to have the appropriate sound for that. I'm not in a habit yet. I haven't developed that habit yet. I just got this new app, so it takes few times. Whoa. And see what happens when you don't have what do you call the premium version. You get bombarded with commercials, with ads. I'm not a big fan of that. So this is what you just heard as I try to pull up the app. But since it's a personal story time, we got to make this special, and we got to make sure that we have the proper sound effects. This was too quiet. Let's try this again. It's a story time, yo. And the story goes, my large age gap story. It wasn't love at first sight, but the instant we met, I knew my life had changed. At first, my head kept logical. He was from Hawaii and I am from New Zealand. He was a tourist. We lived in different countries. I was 30. He was 59. I was determined to have a wonderful and brief affair. Funny how the heart interferes. Within 3 days, it was obvious I would begin to fall for him. It was also evident he was feeling the same. When we looked at each other, nothing else existed. He encouraged me to be bold and wonderful. I gave him a safe space to be himself. 3 weeks later, he left giving me a perfect memory of what love could be. But it didn't stop there. We talked every day on the phone, missing each other like crazy. Within a week, he was already planning to return. A few weeks after later, I took leave from work and we traveled around the North Island together for 3 weeks. It was magical and happier than I can express. We both knew that we had something. After he left again, we still talked on the phone every day. He wanted me to go to Hawaii for 3 months so I could see what life with him would be. The memory of that time is reserved for him and I alone. I came back to New Zealand to pack up and move permanently, except I was sick, throwing up, nauseous, tired. My best friend looked at me and said, "Are you pregnant?" You see, I had been told as a teenager that I couldn't get pregnant without medical assistance, so it was never something I had thought about. I wanted to be the cool aunt who flew in, handed over presents, spoiled my nieces and nephews rotten, and left again. I was panicked. Being older, he had already had children he didn't want anymore. We still talked every day on the phone. Our love for each other evident. I had a decision to make, but once I heard the baby's heartbeat, there was no way I could give it up. Now, there was a new dilemma: where to raise the child. I hadn't thought about being a mother unprepared, and being unprepared knew I would need my family and friends. He didn't want to live in New Zealand because of his commitments in Hawaii. I was caught between a rock and a hard place, as the saying goes. In the end, our love wasn't enough to make me make that risk. M- Sorry, my our life wasn't enough to make me take that risk. I still love him as a father of my daughter. I'm not in love with him, and I wish him only the best, the very best in life. I wasn't brave. That's what this love story taught me: to be brave and take a chance on love. I now know how much I can love and what love can be. My next serious relationship will be epic and will be brave, and will have him to thank for that. Whew. That was awesome. That was simply awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this story. Um, when I read it in my email, it was like a roller coaster of emotions, because even though you send this to me in an email as an example of the age gap story, I think that story resonated with me, kind of on a different level, if you will. I was thinking of anything but age gap when I was reading this story, to tell you completely the truth. I was thinking about the special connection that one human can have with another human. I was thinking about the fact that distance can fade away in the face of real love. I was thinking about commitment that a mother made to her child. I was thinking about miracles that could happen in the world, even though medicine or doctors told you that you couldn't have children. Um, I was thinking about forgiveness and wonderful mindset that you've had, not to give up on life and not to give up on your child. I was thinking about all the wonderful things that came as a result of this unexpectedly, and how life can work out, and how, even though we can have plans in life, sometimes these plans just simply don't end up happen the way that we anticipate them to. So this ended up being a lot more than just a interesting large age gap story. It ended up being very powerful message on so many different levels. That was a weird sound. I don't know what it was. I hope I don't have a ghost here. It was weird. It was very, very weird. I'm trying to figure out what it could have been, but I don't know. It was like a hard drop of something. Anyway, that was an awesome, awesome story. Um, and I guess, in terms of age gap, that also goes to show that those type of relationships can work. If you really want me to address the age gap, here we go. Even though there could be difference in age, I think people can make it work. Now, I mentioned something earlier in my live stream on Instagram tonight, and I was saying, on the most basic level, when I think about limitations pertaining to um, an age gap, I think of the physical ones first. I think about that if you have a significant age gap where one person will be limited, physically speaking, to actually be able to go and enjoy life fully. So which means it could mean take trips. It could mean stay active. It could mean obviously intimacy as well. Um, if these things at play, then I can see how these things could be affected. How age can affect the relationship. That is. Um, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? The question was, do you think that there's such a thing as too much of an age gap? Have you had an age gap relationship, a significant age gap relationship in your own personal life? Do you think that it works? Do, do you have a specific way to define it? What would be, in your opinion, a significant age gap. And what is your reasoning? What is your reasoning for whether you saying it would work or not work? Would love to hear from you. If you just join us, please be sure to smash the like button, share this with someone. Let's have a great conversation tonight. Let me look at some of your comments because this is what it's all about. Sayan said, my favorite Russian is back again. Thank you, Sayan. It's been a while. I miss you. Thank you for joining. Let's see. Becky said, I don't age. I don't, maybe you mean, I don't think age really matters. Usually, fear of health issues is a deterrent, but no one's health or limitations are guaranteed just because of age or youth. That is correct as well. So there are certainly young people who could be going through some physical issues as well. So there are no guarantees that age alone is going to be the only factor there, right? Somebody's cutting up onions. Oh, okay. You were crying. Got you. Got you. Got you. Got you. Hello, Cheyenne. Thank you for joining. You recommended this topic, so we're talking about it. But let's see. Let's see some comments. The question is: do you believe in age gap? Do you think that age gap difference matter in relationships? Why or why not? This is the question. Why or why not? I made an emphasis on physical aspect of things and how physically speaking, if you're unable to do something, it can matter. Um, Mentally speaking, the maturity level could be a big factor. So if you're dating someone, and I don't think it's just about age, but let's say that you're dating someone younger than yourself who does not have emotional maturity, I think that that could be a problem. What I mean by emotional maturity, you are not on the same page. Some things that matter to you don't matter to the other person. Maybe that other person, you know, gives you stress. Maybe, maybe you just not on the same page with the other person. Those mental limitations or emotional limitations due to age could appear as well. I would not be attributing it to the age alone, though, because I think there are many, many factors that would go into it. So, the person's upbringing, what person been through, person's decision making, person choices, person's ability to compromise, person's ability to listen. So I feel like there are many, many factors that will go into it beyond just age, because sometimes you have young individuals, again, both genders, men and women, who are very mature. It could be, a person who is in his or her early 20s, but person who have this value system up to par, person who is going to be respectful towards you, who's going to be listening to you, who's going to take what you're saying into consideration. And again, you can just feel those things based on the interaction itself. Sometimes you speak with the 40-year-old person, 50-year-old person who acting like a child, right? And so age alone, I don't think it's going to be a good way to determine everything. Shane said, I love older men 28 to 35, more mature, more handsome, more stable, and looking for something serious. Maturity, more handsome, interesting. So you're saying the older men actually look better than younger men? Uh-huh. More stable, and more mature. I think it does make sense for me because I can tell you from my experiences when I was in my 20s, I was in a different universe, completely different universe. And and some of it I had to go through some BS, um, to understand how to behave better, to understand how to treat people better, how not to be as selfish. And I think everyone is learning those lessons in different time in their life, right? And I don't believe that it's ever over. I think the evolution continues, but I think what's really important is uh, to recognize at what point of evolution are you. Are you at the point of your individual evolution where you can accept somebody else for the way they are, to where you can compromise, to where you can um, bring value to other individual, maybe be a little bit less selfish? Those are the questions for me. Chantel said sometimes it don't work, sometimes it does work. Indeed. It's 3 a.m. here in Germany. Germany's in the house. What's going on? I have 3 brothers in Germany. You are up late, DM. Appreciate you joining. That's amazing. Jamie said, my best friend's husband is 15 years younger than her. She used to get very frustrated with his maturity. So I told her, you have to be patient. They're married now very happily. Wow, 50 years younger. Yeah, that's considerable, right? It's significant age difference. Um, so what kind of things like were they fighting about? And how do you know how they were able to overcome it? Was he started to take some steps that he didn't before? When it comes to wanting to build a family with a person, age is a huge factor. Such as, examples, please. DM, acting like a child is not the same as childish. Please explain. Like, acting like a child that in not the same as childish. Would love to know more. I just know that they are a good match now. They have been married for 10 years and he has matured a lot. See, this is really interesting to me, how people can mature throughout their marriage and how they come to that point. Um, like I would love to talk to them. I would love to even have them find out from them if they would be willing to be live guests on the show one night or one day, because I would like to know. I would like to find out, like, you know, was there a breaking point or a point at which like they realized something had to change? How did they navigate the time when they were struggling? What kept them together? What kind of frustrations they were going through? I would be curious to find out those things for sure. So maybe find out, maybe connect me with them and see, and I will see if they'll be interested to be on the show. Becky said, out of my more recent relationships, I was with a woman that was 16 years older than me. She was so immature. The man that's 9 years younger than me is more mature than her. Yeah, and that's again just goes to show that age alone is not going to be the sole factor that we need to look at when we're trying to determine who is going to have higher or better emotional intelligence and maturity. Shane, oh yes, older definitely looks better in my opinion compared to a 23-year-old. For me, I don't know why. Well, I think, to be fair, and ladies, you can tell me if you agree with this, but women mature faster than men do. So if you compare, 18-year-old woman and an 18-year-old man, in a lot of cases you will see a woman who is, you know, some of these 18 years old looking like grown women ready to reproduce. And when you're looking at 18-year-old guy, he looks like a boy. you know. He's just It's just a different maturity level. So I can see how, you know, a 23-year-old or a guy in his early 20s just can look a little young, the mind could not be developed as much as woman's 20-year-old woman mind. So if you look at college kids, you can just see the difference. So that's one example that comes to mind. Felicia said, my child's father is 10-year-old older than me, and that didn't end well at all. In 10 years, is not a huge, um, like age difference, but probably speaks more about like his personality more so than his age, right? I'm getting ready to let my younger Russian man go. He said he wants children one day. I'm 50. Did he say that he wants children with you? Maybe he meant adopting children. Childish, retaining the childlike nature, energy, fun, wonder. Um, Man, I'll take the energy, fun, and wonder. I don't know, the childlike nature. Hopefully, I'm not going to be crying all the time, but definitely want to have good energy and some fun. Jamie said they fought over chores, money, budget, the usual things. I told her she needed to talk to him clearly about what she needed for him. Clear message. Clear message is super important. It's funny. I spoke with someone about this. Um, how men and women communicate. I mean, we talked about it. I think a few days ago, actually, last week. How men are super solution oriented, always looking for solutions. And so, I think if you have a conversation with a man and you give him specific objective or specific goal, you might be looking at higher level of success with him, because that's how a lot of men operate. We operate based on specifics, objectives. We want to know what the goal is. Felicia said, well, the majority of women, when we hit a certain age, risk in pregnancy goes up. Raising kids is rough at any age, but it's a bit more difficult when you are older. That's just my opinion, though. I think it's a biological fact. I think the biggest factor that actually matters is when the biological clock is ticking for women. Yep. I think you hear that quite a bit. No, it's actual relationship at the moment, but I wanted to take it further. Yes, big age gap can play important factor in the relationship thriving or failing. Exactly, Becky. That's a real thing. Pregnancy is uncomfortable too. My kid hurt me. You mean physically hurt you when you had her? Yeah, I think that's one thing that, you know, I mean that is a huge difference biologically speaking between men and women, and I think that the typical window, or not a deadline, but the preferred time by which a lot of people say women should have children is 35, I believe. And I think it's based on some scientific studies in cases of children start having some issues, right? They're attributing that to a lot of it to mother's age. Um, so, if you take that into account, having children as a woman, all of a sudden, you know, age becoming a lot more important of a factor in this equation. and and that's not something that it would just have to be taken into consideration. um but the thing is too, what I think makes it kind of complicated in a way is that a lot of women in America in their 20s, they trying to take care of their careers. They're trying to really do well for themselves. So in a lot of cases, they're not even ready for children, right? and and then in the 30s, it becomes harder for women to have children. So they're really faced with, like, the biological clock are ticking. They have less time to have children, and then they're faced with real choices, with really tough choices to make, right? um, and especially considering the fact that sometimes, if you're a woman in your 30s and you still don't have, like, a fiance, a husband, or a significant other that you are willing to have children with, then you in a different type of situation. Whereas I think for man, I really haven't, I don't recall men having conversations about biological clock that much, you know, because the common idea is that men can have children at any age. Um, I think I did hear some studies that were saying how, I think that the quality of semen is getting also worse at certain age. So I think that that's, maybe there is something to it too. To when at certain point when when man's age come into play as well. But I think that ceiling is higher, naturally speaking, for men than it is for women, because women are the ones who actually will be giving birth, and that's a whole different story to give a birth to a child versus just pass the genes. Let's see some other comments. In today's age, it is not good for women to date younger men, especially due to the youth trend on social media. When you say youth trend, what exactly do you mean? Like, just everybody's young, or having children when you're young, or something else? Summer Dream, hello, thank you for being here. I don't care about a big age gap in couples as long as they're both adults that respect each other. However, they rarely work out in the long run because they don't have much in common in the end. Yeah, I think having common ground and the ability to, to ability to enjoy your time together, right? Establish some sort of um, interest in things that both of you enjoying. I think that's even more important than just age alone, right? If you just take age alone and nothing else, or if you're just going to take the fact that two people really enjoy each other's company, um, I think enjoying each other's company is going to be very, very important, until, again, all the other factors will come in the picture. When you start talking about children, I think then there will be additional questions to be had. Um, but I think that connection piece is super important that people not always talk about. People operate at kind of different capacities. I mean, a lot of times it seems to me that people operate based on attraction. Like, if you're attracted to somebody else, a lot of times you go for it, and then you kind of deal with consequences later. It takes a lot of responsibility to think otherwise. Jamie said, two, I think it is up to the older person in the relationship to be understanding and patient, not with bad behavior, but with understanding maturity issues. Also, no one is a mind reader. Talk openly. Yes, indeed. Nobody is a mind reader. Joe, men with money can date younger women, but I highly doubt there is love involved in such relationships. That is why we see a lot sugar daddy baby relationships. Yeah, I think it happens a lot. And I think nowadays you see, how internet just opened the dating market completely. So to your point, Gio, you can fly somebody to a different country if you have means to do that. So in a way that now men and women both compete with the world, not just people in your immediate geographical area. Because again, if you're a person who has means to do it, have resources, you have no limits. You can reach out to somebody you've seen on Instagram and you can make a lucrative offer. And I hate to say that. I hate to even say those words, lucrative offer. That's a term that should be used in business, but it's not anymore because, some people start treating it like, uh, uh, some people make offers that others cannot refuse, like a godfather, right? Make him an offer that he can't refuse. You remember that movie? Some people making offers that other people can't refuse. And some people, let's call it as it is, that treat relationships as a business transaction. They do. They really treat relationships as a business transaction. And it all shutters in the end. And I believe age gap relationships that are 15 years or more will not last long in most cases due to one or both significant other different maturity levels and life experiences. Um, you know, this is interesting because my parents, have been married for 21 years and they were still married. And some of you know my dad passed not even a month ago. So 21 years together, 21 years, and they had I want to say 18, no, 20 years different. Yeah, I think it was 20 or 18, maybe 18, maybe it was 18. Either way, it was significant. It was significant, and they found a way to make it work. I think it's about also objective. It's about age at which people actually get married and what they want to accomplish with the marriage, right? um I think if you get married when you're older and you know that you want to just have a nice life with that person, you know, I think you can make a lot of things work. The sugar daddy mommy relationship deal always freaks me out. It's a it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's part of a culture. It's part of a culture. Felicia, I think people are now having suspicion that you are my girlfriend. This is Felicia, Jo. This is Felicia. This is this person right here. This is a prototype, part of the community. So no, we're not dating. We were just hanging out together. Felicia was in town for work, and I promised that I would introduce her to some Russian food. So I did that. Cheyenne, I dated a guy once in his mid 40s. Never doing that again. I like to call a guy daddy, but I don't want him to daddy me, if that makes sense. Well, you went up. You went up, Cheyenne. Uh, but it does make sense. It does make sense. So would you do it when you're in your 30s, I guess? If you're still single, if you don't have children, would you date somebody in their 40s when you are in your 30s? That's what I'm saying. When that age gap is going to become smaller, would you reconsider? Would you date somebody in their 40s? Becky, if it had if it had any children in my 40s, I would be shocked because I couldn't when I tried in my 20s and 30s. Yeah. Um, I would imagine it would be harder to do based on the knowledge that we have. But I also think that, sometimes this world works in mysterious ways. Let me know if I'm too close to the mic. I don't even know how far. Let me know if you can hear me okay. But sometimes things just happen magically. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Like in this story that I shared with you, right? Let's look back. Let's look back. This person said, let's person said, you see, I had been told as a teenager that I couldn't get pregnant without medical assistance. So it was never something I had thought about. And that was, she was in her 30s at that point. She was in her 30s. So I think in the end, we're not going to know for sure, right? We're not going to know for sure. Sometimes things just happen in a very kind of a surreal, unpredictable way. Cheyenne, I would worry to date guy over 40 because they are higher risk of infertility and have lower sperm quality. Um, I think it also depends on the guy. I think if you're talking about like a active guy who takes care of himself, um, I don't think that 40s, you know, to my knowledge, I don't think that 40s is a big risk of infertility for men because, again, to this previous example, this guy was almost 60 and still was able to reproduce. Um, so Summer at Becky, you'd be surprised. A lot of women struggle with infertility and get pregnant in their 40s. It happened to my best friend's mom. She couldn't have kids either, but had my friend at 44. Wow. Yeah, those things happen. Those things happen. I think it's much harder nowadays for relationships with large age gaps to work out with the way the culture of American society is now. Examples, 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 examples. Many women get this surge of fertility right before they hit menopause. Yeah, I would imagine that would be hard. That would be hard to carry or to go through pregnancy when you're in your 40s. It happened to my grandma too. She had my mom at 45. Wow. Wow. Yeah, a big age gap is still more acceptable when the man is older than the other way around. It seemed to be the case. It seemed to be the case. Um, and I think like younger women being more fertile is the reason. As one of the reason. Obviously, you can, like we can say whatever we want, but I mean, youth is youth. When people younger, people look better. I don't think that we're going to argue with that. I mean, like a lot of women are in their prime, um, in their 20s. It's not always, you know, it, it's not always the case. It's not 100% proof, right? Sometimes you see some women in their 30s and they just hit their stride, right? Sometimes you even see women in their 40s and they look incredible. It's like, oh my God, where have you been in your 20s, right? But I think in a lot of cases, probably in majority, if I had to guess, in majority, then women in their prime in their 20s, in terms of how they look, in terms of how fertile they are, right? So naturally, a lot of men um, would be really attracted to younger women. Coelho, I think did I pronounce it correctly? Coelho. Thank you for being here. I'm dating a younger guy, but you have to carry proudly your choices. At one point, nobody will care anymore. But it's a shame that for men it's easier the acceptance. It's so easier to acceptance. At one point, somebody will care. I think, when you say that at one point nobody will care anymore, um, what do you mean exactly? Like when people, the person that you're dating, you both becoming old. I can see a point where, like, if you're dating, let's say you a 35-year-old man, you're dating a 22 female. At the time, the age difference seemed huge. When he's 35, she's 22. The age difference is huge. When he is when he is 47, right? 48, she's 35, 34. The age difference, the gap is closing, right? The gap is closing. You don't feel it as much because both are kind of getting to this middle age, right? So I can see how moving from younger to more middle age, those lines get more blurry, you know? Kai said, I'm 46 and my range would be 36 to 56. That's a nice range, Kaya. That's a nice, nice range. But if I clicked with the right person, maybe up to 15 years difference. Yeah, for sure, Yuri. If I'm 33 single, I will date 40s. Here we go. I'm just telling you, this age gap is going to close. You're not going to feel much difference at that point, I believe. The problem with 30s, man, us that they likely want children. Happy to adopt, but I don't want them myself. And this is what I'm telling you. This is what I'm telling you. This is how man who wants family will select their significant other. And look, I'm going to speak up. This is the case because when a man, even in his 40s, or let's say a man in his 50s, are going to want to have children, let's say his own children, he's going to be looking for a younger woman. I think that's just kind of how it goes, right? Um, unless unless this man is open to adopt children. Some men will be, but a lot of men will want to have their own. Another situation could be a man might have children of his own already. So if that's the case, he probably be okay dating another woman with a child, so they can combine both families, right? Um, but if it's a single man who wants his own children, even if he's in his late 30s, 40s, even in his 50s, um, he's going to be looking for younger. And remember, again, women select men differently. Women don't select men based on how hot they are for the most part. You can argue with me in the chat. What do women want? Women want security. Women want somebody who can provide. Women want somebody confident. Women want somebody who will be a good father, right? If you can fulfill these things, right? Obviously, it doesn't hurt to be good looking, funny, intelligent. There's all these different things, right? But a lot of women, they want what? They want security. They want support. They want to know that everything will be taken care of, and they want to have somebody who's going to be a good father, somebody who's going to be responsible, somebody who's going to be able to take care of a family, right? And this is the difference. This is the difference that we are seeing. Women are not selecting based on looks and fertility. Like, I never heard women say, I wonder if he, well, I guess I saw Cheyenne saying something right now, but I don't think it's a norm to hear, oh, I wonder he's fertile. I think with a lot of women that will fall, as we've seen in the email, from one of our subscribers, didn't even plan to be with the man. There's something about this man that made her fall in love with the man. He was 59. She was 30. She wasn't thinking, and look, correct me if I'm wrong, but she wasn't thinking about all these different things. She fell for him. And when I say fell, she fell in love with him, right? For a variety of reasons, the way he was, the way he was carrying herself, the way he made her feel, the way he talked, all these things. She found something in him that she loved. That was almost 30 years difference. 30. So this is the difference between how men and women operate, because women operate on emotional connection. Loving this, loving this, loving this, loving this. I think Felicia gave some examples: social media, politics, race, religion, etc. Having conversations on these topics can be hot button issues. Oh, we talked about all the hot stuff. You know how we do it. If there's things like that, we just swirl, 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 swirl. You like that Russian swirl? By the way, if you haven't seen my new video, how to roll your R's, if you want to sound more Russian, I have the new video that just uploaded yesterday. After this live stream is over, you got to check it out. I just got silly with it. I made sounds that I didn't think that I'm capable of, so you got to see it. And if you just join us, we're talking about important topic. Does the age gap difference matter in the relationships? If you just join, make sure to smash this like button. Make sure to share this with someone that needs to know this, and make sure to comment. Let me know where you're watching from, and let me know if you've had those experiences yourself, so we can get the conversation going, because this is important. This is important. Felicia said, I'm more laid back on issues and I am open minded. If a guy is 40 plus that I like and is highly conservative minded, it won't work. So I spoke with someone today on being conservative versus being liberal, and I'm going to make a quick remark. I'm not trying to start a political conversation here, because I know that sometimes this is not a good thing to do. But one thing I will say, the way I perceive this whole thing is, to me, uh, in US, I think it's complicated, right? Because you either one or another. It's kind of hard, and people don't like if you're conservative, then you don't like liberals. If you all the way liberal, then you don't like conservatives. And a lot of times people don't even want to hear what do you stand for. It's just you either this or you that, right? But it's an odd thing to me, because I think we feel differently about different issues, right? We're conservative about some issues, we're more liberal about other issues. So I think what's really disheartening from my perspective when we are talking about different political views is that we'll lose the sight of things that are important. And you can see that if you turn on CNN or Fox, because when you turn on this channel, the agenda is bash. One side is bashing another side. Um, the reason I say we're losing sight is because we should be looking at the issue the way, if I would have an idealistical debate, right? We should be looking at the issue, education, for example, how to make education more affordable, how to make it better. And it's not about, whose side is right. It's about how do we actually take care of education? How do we make it better? And so if that means that the bills that will be passed will be coming in from different sides and they're going to be intertwined, that's fine. But the problem is that the way the system's set up, it seems to me, is that one side has an upper hand, and sometimes that even when a good bill being presented, if it does not go along with the agenda of one side, it's get denied. So this is disheartening. This is disheartening because it's not about being conservative or liberal. It's about helping people to be better, to get better education, better healthcare, better quality of life. And I know this is all just idealistical talk, I know that it's not going to happen, but I just think that if we can at least treat other people and give them chance to state their case and not prejudge them based whether they are liberal or conservative, I think we at least will have a chance to get somewhere further. Because right now, conversation, it seems to me that conversation revolves around, oh, are you conservative or are you liberal? And that's where the conversation stops. That's where people start growing apart. And I don't think that's really efficient, but I rest my case. The society, I mean, people drop mean comments, but for men, it's much more acceptable. I'm 34 dating a 24, 25-year-old guy. Um, you know what? Society, society sometimes sucks. I'm sorry to say that, but society made up of people, and sometimes people say stupid stuff. I don't think that everybody should be allowed to. Well, let me step back. Let me step back before I say too much, right? I think that some people, a lot of, now everybody can share their opinion, but some opinion maybe don't need to be shared, right? Um, so I think we got to be careful who we're listening to when we're listening to other people and what we're going to actually pay attention to. Because why am I saying this? I'm a type of guy who um, I like to listen to people and I love to learn how other people feel. And I like to understand the reason why other people feel a certain way. But sometimes you have a comment that is, um, you have a comment that is aimed at hate. It's a hateful comment in nature. It's a comment that is completely unproductive. It's a comment that does not provide any value. And so sometimes you have to be able to recognize who are these people and what is the intent of the comment. Um, and my take on it that sometimes you cannot give time of the day to people who just want to be hateful commenters or trolls. And I think we get more and more of that nowadays. Becky said, I think one of the reasons men like them younger sometimes is because they find other women bitter and bossy. Uh, this is also this is so individually based, I believe. You know, this is so individually based, and one thing that I would want to encourage everyone to do is like do your best to look at the particular individual that you're dealing with. The reason I say that, now look, Becky, I get it. Like if there's other reasons why they want, we talked about children, right? If man wants to date younger women because they're really concerned about you know the biological clock, right? Okay, I think you can have this conversation, you can make your case for it, right? But sometimes I think people get carried away with saying, oh, I don't like older people or I don't like younger people. And I think it's a slippery slope. I think it's a dangerous road to walk on, just because we take our individual experiences and we qualify that and we present them as, we package them as if they apply to a great number of people, and it's not always the case, right? So the question becomes, what it is about these younger individuals that you've dated, not you in particular, Bacon, just responding to your example. you know what about these younger individuals that that person dated that really makes them less capable to be understanding, to be sweet, to be kind, respectful, all these different things. um just a thought, just a thought on that. There is a 50 plus year old guy on Instagram who looks 30. His name is Chuandon. Oh, great name. I wouldn't mind an older guy that keeps himself up like him. Hey, maybe you should tell him, Heather. Maybe you should shoot your shot. Just saying. Tell him that. Tell him that, or I can, if you want, I can screenshot and send it to him. Let me know. I can send it for you. I'm gonna tell him, hey, I have a good catch for you. Lilium, I like men older than me because I feel that they are more serious, they have experience, they're more reliable. I'm not saying that young people are not, because they are not old, but I prefer old men. I have my kombucha. Remember that? I'm bringing it back. Now I'm drinking out of the bottle. That's a real gangster stuff right here. Amazing. It's so amazing. I enjoy simple things in life. You know, simple things in life are amazing. I have kombucha. I have some water. I still have some venison from Felicia in my fridge that I couldn't stop eating today. Still got to talk to you about, you know, establishing a distribution line between Alabama and Florida to where we can get a deal together where you send those things. Anyway, that's how good they're. Lily, man, man, to some extent, um, man can gain value with age. Um, well, let me give you an example. Like, let me use myself as an example. I'm gonna put myself out there. I had my education back in 2013, and I had my first professional job in 2013. I didn't have a house. I didn't have a high paying job. You know, I was dating at the time, so that relationship didn't work out. And then when I was single again, you know, it's not like it's not like that. I just had a bunch of choices. It's like women were not falling at my feet, right? Um, let's say that in 5 years I'm going to accomplish my goal. I'm going to have a better job. Let's say I'm going to be doing well on YouTube and you know, either produce additional income on YouTube or end up having my own business. um, or let's say that in 5 years I will have, let's just take it a step further. Let's say that I will have very strong direction and I will be doing well, and I will have the opportunity financially to travel the world and to have a house and perhaps invest in some businesses. And so, even though I'm going to be in my 40s at that point, I think that's going to increase my value as a man. And I think that when that happens to man, it makes us feel more confident. You know, I think we become more self-assured, less um, less self critical, I suppose, and that transfers into our approach to women, how we carry ourselves when we carry those conversations. And then I think there's a certain energy that helps us to establish connections with women. And then, of course, when we go through dating process, you know, a woman can see that, hey, he has his stuff together. So I think this is just kind of like few steps to showcase how man, even though when man gets older, when they can establish themselves, it can kind of put them in a different category, at least in his own mind. And I think that will ultimately make a difference, in his dating experiences. Summer Dream, I think it's cute when the woman is a little bit older. It often shows that the guy likes her for more than her looks, especially when she's not rich. Some older women, they're on fire. For one thing, let me tell you something about older women. There's no drama with older women. Older women, well, and it's not 100% proof. There's some old drama queens too. There are some old drama queens too. So don't take it as it's not proof. You know that is how some old drama queens sound. But there are a lot of older women who acting more mature, who don't have drama, who already went through their share of experiences and who know how to handle relationships. They pick their battles, so to speak. They don't get into silly arguments with guys, right? They know how to behave. They have experience. Same with guys. I mean, that we talked about older guys, right? Older guys who become, better prospects. Same thing with to some extent, older women, like mentally speaking, they can be an incredible asset because of those things, because of experiences, and because they know things not to do at the very least. DM, after a certain age, the factors you mentioned are not valid for women anymore. As an older woman can already be self-sufficient, has an established career, etc. Yes, looks and overall compatibility. Um, yes, they can be self-sufficient. They can have an established career. Um, but I think age is just, I think, still would be the factor if we're talking about family, though. Tyra said, do you think sexual attraction is one-sided? How can you tell the difference between having a crush versus sexual tension? Sexual attraction is one-sided. um I don't, if I understand your question correctly, you're asking like if it's just one gender sexually attracted to another. No, I don't think that that's the case. I think that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think that women absolutely sexually attracted to men. But I just think from everything that I've gathered so far from my subscribers and just people that I've spoken with, and I ask these questions to women. It's funny because now that if when I whether I'm with my, you know friends, or with, even when I'm interacting with my community, or even when I go on dates, I just ask these questions. You know, um, and women will say that it's important for them to be sexually attracted to other men. But I'm also curious, how much weight do they really put on that when somebody approaches them? I think when somebody approaches them, it seems to me that women not looking at the appearance as the first. I mean, it's kind of like intertwined, it seems. Like, obviously, if the guy's super short and doesn't meet the threshold, there's a certain threshold I think exists with women, to where, like, okay, some women say, like, if he's 6 feet tall, like, you know, um, not super overweight. Um, some women say like smile is important, right? So there's a certain threshold that women will apply, but I don't think, as it seems to me, it's not as critical as it is for men with the physical attraction, right? Because man will be very particular. Some men like will never date a woman who is taller than him, or some men will never date a woman who is super short, right? So I think to some extent, like, man could be more picky or discard a woman from a beginning. But I don't think that sexual attraction is one-sided. I do not. Um, as far as the difference between having a crush versus having sexual tension, oh, sexual tension. Interesting question. I would have to Google sexual tension. What's the definition of that? Crush. Um, let's see what Google says. And I can do it right here so you can see, so you can actually be part of this. I'm gonna put it on another screen for you. I'm gonna put it on another screen for you. What is, hold on, I need to move this. I don't have my keyboard here, so I need to reach. What is sexual tension? What does, let's see what the Google says. What is sexual tension? What is sexual tension and is it healthy? Let's look at the first site. Looks like it's from this year. It says sexual tension occurs when two individuals interact and feel sexual desire, yet no sexual activity happens. Okay. So the question was, do you think sexual attraction? How can you tell the difference between having a crush versus having sexual tension? Um, Having a crush. So the way I look at having a crush is like really liking somebody, right? Really being attracted to someone. Um, and from a man perspective, I mean, so crush. All right. So if we think of crush in kind of the its own original sense of the word, right? Then crush has underlying meaning that you really like the person and you want to be able to pursue that person, right? Based on this definition of sexual tension occurs when two individuals interact and feel sexual desire, yet no sexual activity happens. I mean, it would be different from crush because it seems like friends could experience that, right? Friends could have sexual tension, like maybe like a touch of the hand or something, and they're like, whoa, like that was different. But it doesn't mean that one person or another person have a crush on each other, right? So I think that I suppose that there this is where I see the difference. Thank you for your question, Tara, and thanks for being here. Coelho. Let me minimize that real quick. If I can, whatever. I'll just close it. I've seen happen a lot. Sometimes it's not the age; they're easier to be manipulated. It's not because men think older women bitter. It's because they know by the smell what game they're playing. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what to comment on that. Be completely honest with you. Cheyenne said he's 50 plus. Impossible. Oh, there was a comment to Heather. Some are like Aaron Taylor Johnson and his older wife. You guys talking about some men out here, I suppose. Who are these people? Do men become less selective about looks as they age or just the same? Oh, goodness. Um, I think it depends on the man. I think it depends whether or not man has options. I think men with options probably have high standards. Probably not something that people want to hear. You would think, if the man is getting older, you're probably thinking, well, what's going on, old fogey? Why is still being so selective and picky? And his response would be, because I can be. The question isn't do they or not. The question is, can they? Can they afford to be more selective? And I don't mean money wise, meaning that do they have options to be more selective, right? And do they actually have, um, do people respond? Does the opposite sex respond to their to them being more selective? In other words, if the marketplace, if you older man, right? Let me give you an example. If you a 55-year-old man, let's just say that this is an older man. If you're a 55-year-old man and you go out in public and you can start a conversation and you can charm a beautiful woman and you can have a relationship with her or date her or fling with her, then that's your answer. I suppose you can be more selective, you know, if that's the case, right? So I think the answer lies in the sexual marketplace itself. It's not, to me, it's not about idealistically what society thinks. It's very practical. In the question, the answer becomes, can he actually do it? Can he actually talk to these women? And if the answer is yes, then there you have it. Felicia, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate it. You are an amazing, amazing supporter. Um, I can't thank you enough. Just so you know, um, I think a lot of you in this community kind of know how, like, that I try to acknowledge people who really do a lot of things for the channel. And Felicia have done just an incredible amount of support for this particular channel. um, and it's not just about the monetary support, and you certainly have done a lot of that, and I'm super thankful to you for that. But even just the kind words that you would say sometimes, and supporting me and believing in me, and continuously kind of pushing me directly and indirectly, more indirectly, because you're not telling me like, hey, make another video. You just tell me like, hey, sending me motivational quote or whatever. I just wanted to tell you thank you from the bottom of my heart. That means a whole lot. It means a whole lot. So thank you so much. Where were we? Where were we? I think we looked at that. Sorry, I needed to get back really quickly. This topic makes me think of the movie Something's Gotta Give, but in the end, everybody just ended up with people close to their own ages. Nice. Summer Dream. I worry that I will be with the guy that's the same age as me or younger, only for them to leave me when I'm old to be with a younger woman. This is legitimate. This is legitimate. 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 How many different ways you can say word legitimate? Apparently a lot. Uh, what's interesting about this comment is the fact that I think you can feel the similar way in business too. Let me explain. You can be a business owner and you can hire people to work for you. And it's difficult to do everything and know everything different aspects of business. So sometimes you see managers or business owners become bitter and resentful as a result of that towards other employees or other people. Can you kind of think of someone like that who is start acting petty or straight up inappropriate, or mistreating someone because they're just not as smart or they're not as good, right? Why I'm telling you this, if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, Vaynerchuk has been a great inspiration for me. He's like one of the kind entrepreneurs. He's CEO of Vayner Media. Got to get my pronunciation right. Um, but he's all over social media. He's a content king. I learned a lot from him during the pandemic. He just puts out obscene amounts of content. Long story short, he's the one who said, if you're afraid of any of your employees to, um, I think he said, I'm not afraid of any of my employees leaving the company because I know what I can do, and I know, I have the skill set to do what they're currently doing. So, in a way, it's kind of a same idea that transfers into a relationship. If you know the value that you are bringing into the relationship, and if you know it's a real value, Summer Dream, that even if the person leaves you, in certain cases that person is a fool. I talk about my my video, the one that got away. I refer back to it quite a bit of time because even though I was the one to break up with the girl, I took an L. I took a loss because in the end, I lost a good girl. So I think if what you have is real, and what, if you giving your best to another person, you're still winning, because even if that person is not going to appreciate that, they're going to lose, because you still it you still the person who brings value. And value, it's like cream rise to the top. Another thing that Gary Vaynerchuk says, cream rise to the top. So if you have something special, it will find its way where it needs to be. That's the way I think about it. So long story short, maybe from my perspective, I wouldn't be worrying about that guy same age as you. You said I worried that if I'll be with the guy same age me or younger, only for them to leave me when I'm old to be with a younger woman. um i think that I think that also, if you're worrying about that, like legitimately worrying about it, and if you're thinking about it, I think that will affect the relationship as well. I think it's going to show itself sooner or later, right? I think I will be focusing on other things if it was me. Again, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't. I'm not here to say I know and understand how people feel and what exactly it's going to do. But I would think that if you're doing the best that you can in a relationship, you bring value in that relationship, that other person should recognize it. If I have somebody who has my back and somebody who has my best interest at heart, now look, some people will fake that they have your back. Some people will not be genuine with that. So understand that too. There's a lot of people who are pretending. You have another video on pretenders. There's a lot of people who can pretend beautifully, right? But you can feel the difference when somebody truly has your back, and somebody who is really want to be with you and who is willing to take care of you, or do all these things, who is real. ride or die type of person. But those type of people, you got to hold on to them. So if you that kind of person to that guy, it's going to be his loss if he lets you go. You know what I mean? So this is kind of like, I don't know. I wouldn't be thinking about it too much personally. But I understand. I mean, I guess I understand that you do in a way. I just think that value wins in the end. Love, I guess, love, value, um, the things that you bring in the relationship, those things. Don't worry about that summer dreams. Believe me, you attract what you fear. That see that there's certain things, there's certain energy I think that you create when when you continue on to have to think about it constantly, right? I think there's something to this concept. Isn't this socially accepted rule that you should only date a younger person if they have your age plus 7? I think that's actually it's a thing. I think it's a thing. Mike was telling me about this. So like I think that's a formula. So like for me, um, what would it be? I have to calculate it. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to date anybody, I guess, below 27 or 26 because I just turned 39. So 26 or 25, I won't be able to go below that. But you know what? Who came up with this formula? Why is it a thing? Why? Strong ballerina, what's up? Thanks for being here. Swirl, international couple. Or does it mean something else now? No, no, no. Swirl. I was saying swirl, 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 swirl. Just move to the side. You always look for things to like. You think that any word is abbreviation for something else, aren't you, strong ballerina? No, it's just swirl, swirl. Sexual act that I learned about. Yo, you guys are on something different tonight. I can't even say a word anymore. I was just swirl. Like, what is it called? Okay, I'm gonna call it lean, lean, lean. Is that okay? Is lean stands for something too? Let's see, let's see. Summer dream. Often older men are with younger women because of the looks, but it turns into love all better, all the better. But if it turns into love, all the better. It's only terrible when they objectify and belittle each other after the attraction wears off. Yeah, I have strong opinions on belittling. Very strong opinion. By the way, if you're just joining, be sure to smash the like button. We're doing it. Almost hour and a half. Great conversation. Great community here in the house. We're talking about age gap and age difference. We have only 13 likes and we have 18 people watching. You know what time it is. I'm tired of the ghost watchers. I'm tired of you. So I'm just going to bring it back. You know what this means? This means that I'm going to recognize who are the ghost watchers. I'm going to talk to you like this cuz I need to see ghosts. You know where the like button is? Let me find a sound for you. Let me get the sound for you. I'm going to find a perfect sound for you, ghost watchers. Nope. Nope. Oh, maybe it is right. That means wake up. You see a rooster early in the morning. Wake up and smash the like button. Come on, ghost watchers. Come on. Come on, ghost watchers. You can do this. You can do this. I believe in you. 15 likes, 17 people watching. What about the two other people? What's going on with you? Ghost watchers. Oh my god, we're going into commercial break again. No way. Um Ghost watchers. How does it feel to be a ghost? How does it feel to be a ghost? Does it feel good? Does it feel weird? How does it feel? How does it feel to be a ghost? Am I too demanding? Tell me in a comment. Am I too demanding to get likes? But if you're watching, why not smash a like button? Or maybe you smash the dislike button. If you don't like it, if you're watching, maybe you dislike it. But if you dislike it, can you still smash a dislike button? Because at least it will let me know that you don't like it. But if you're watching and you're not doing anything, if you're watching and you're not smashing a like button or you're not smashing a dislike button, then what are you doing? Like, what is the purpose of this? I know that you're not leaving a comment, but at least engage by smashing a like button or dislike button. Are you just like turn it on and then went to cook a dinner? Or are you watching me on your big screen? Are you watching me on your big screen and you're just unable to smash the like button? Maybe that's what it is. I'm going to assume that that's what it is. I'm going to stop torturing you. Maybe you're watching it on the big screen. My friends, where were we? Where were we? Let's continue on. Caius, confident and intelligent men are the sexiest. Yes, and that's why they're in demand even when they're old. And you can argue with me all you want, but 50-year-old, intelligent, confident, um, financially stable, somebody who can take care of himself. This is just look, and I don't know. I didn't create the rules. I did not create these rules. I just know that these men are in demand. You know, these younger women will give him time of the day. There's a certain way that they carry themselves. There's a certain message that they portray. There's a certain energy that they provide to a woman, and woman feels it, a younger woman, and they will talk to them. So I didn't create those rules. Observe it yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Next time you're out and about, pay attention. You might see older man talking to a young woman. I was about to say, let me introduce you to my mother-in-law. Me, do older men who are more successful maybe and have a career see value in younger women without a career? Um, the career, look, this is where I think a lot of women get offended. Um, but okay, let's just let's just pretend. Let's pretend I am approaching a beautiful young woman. I mean, she is drop dead gorgeous. Okay, so the looks are not a problem. I am clearly intrigued by her physical appearance. She has all bells and whistles. Okay, I am a man with education. I'm a man with resources. I am financially independent to where I'm good. I'm good, right? So this is the scenario. I'm approaching her at the grocery store. I have no idea who she is. I start conversation with her. I come to find out that she is currently um she's currently um does not have a career. I don't want to pick anyone to whatever. Let's just say she's a makeup artist right now. She just does it temporary because she doesn't um whatever. Let's not even say that. Let's just say she's a makeup artist and she does it for a living, whatever, and just leave it at that, right? No knock on somebody who does makeup. It's just the first thing that came to my mind. If you love this career, by all means be a makeup artist. It could be a great career as well. But let's just say that this is like she just does makeup and that's what she does. I think really what I'm paying attention at this point, okay, how does this woman interact? Okay, is this woman friendly? Can this woman carry a conversation with me? Um, I am looking at the body language. Is she, how she carries herself. Is she vulgar in any way, right? Is she can she be a suitable candidate for a long-term girlfriend, right? So those three things would be important, right? And then afterwards it would be like, okay, bad habits. Does she smoke? Does uh, is she cuss? Like, I mean, like all these different things, right? They will come into play later, right? But on the surface, like, can she carry a conversation? Is she nice? Um, is is she um, is she can she be a candidate for a long term relationship, right? And I think one of the things, I mean, it probably one of the questions I probably would ask her in the first 5 minutes of our interaction or 10 minutes of our interaction, just to see what she says, is like, hey, what okay, you're doing makeup right now, cool. What is it? Something that you know what are your goals and aspirations? Where are you going? I understand that this is where you at, but where are you going? If she doesn't give me any answer, if she's just like, hmm, whatever, then I really have to make I have to think about it. I have to think about it. Okay, how important for me as a man for my younger woman to be going to places? Because I think here some men will say, well, I just want a trophy wife. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I got it made. I can support both of us, whatever, right? Some other man will probably say, I don't know about that. I need her. I need her to be her own person, right? So I think you're going to have a bit of a difference of opinion here among men, but I think generally speaking, I don't think her career will be in the first place. I think in the first place you're going to things that I mentioned. If is she's going to be nice, respectful? Does she have potential to be a good long-term girlfriend and companion? I think that's going to matter more. That's just my opinion. Between two people, like if I had a crush, do you think he feels that electricity in crush too? If I have a crush, do you think he feels that electricity in crush too? I think it depends on how you behave yourself and what you're showcasing to him. If you're being very reserved about it and you don't show anything to him, that he might not know. But if you give him some signs, if you like playful flirting with him, if you say certain things, do certain things, if you just like showing some little bits of attention or some hints, I think a lot of men will figure it out. How can you tell when there is sexual tension between you and another individual versus you just having one-sided? I think we already went through this, didn't we? Crush equal one-sided. One-sided crush on them. Uh, I'm just trying to think on this one. I'm just trying to think. Uh, is sexual tension supposed to be thing between two people, and then one-sided crush? One person has a crush, and then one person doesn't. Um, Again, I mean, I think you have to look at the body language, what people do and what people say. You have to read between the lines. I think sometimes it's a certain way that people look at you when they have a crush on you. Sometimes they verbatim tell you that. Whereas with sexual tension is like that's a tricky one. I really think age is the background. If a man prefers a very young woman, always is a matter of ego and power. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't necessarily think it's always ego and power. Kaya, bye everyone. I have a meeting in 15 minutes, so we'll catch later. Great topic, Yuri. Thank you so much, Kaya. Appreciated you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cheyenne, I remember I was 21. Uh, Guy was 25, and he said I was too old. I laughed in his face and went home. Um, why? So, did he know your age before the date, or he obviously thought that you looked good enough to go on a date? So, why he was worrying about that 4 year difference on the date? I don't quite get it. Let him go home. I mean, or leave him. I think at this point he can, you know, he can work on himself a little bit. Oh my God. Once a man 1 year younger than me told me that, look, but let's be real. There are some people who are just not reasonable. These examples that you're giving me, these folks are not reasonable. Cut them out. Cut them out. When people do shit like that, it's just out. I have no buts or ifs about it. If you're doing stupid, dumb shit, you deserve to go. Summer dream. I prefer men that are close to my own age. But if an older, younger guy came along that turned into my best friend, then it's a victory. I just wouldn't actively seek them out. Yeah, again, you just never know. You might end up with the person who is going to come in and make you feel something you never felt before, and he might be not the age that you expect, and then what, right? Shout out to Felicia one more time. Appreciate you so much. Becky, I chose the person that I find attractive and feel a connection with. I don't think about age much when I'm looking. I never let society dictate my love life. I think that this is one of the best things you can do. I know, look, I think I'm going to keep, unless something changes in my mind, it just makes sense to me. I think that it comes down to, ultimately, it comes down to, can you find this one person that you connect with? And can you say, okay, I'm truly connecting with that person? If that person is truly connecting with me, that's it. Because what happens is, like, you start, when you start collecting too much information from the people around you, sometimes you just, this could get overwhelming. Sometimes you just go with your intuition and just know that this is the one. This is the one that I want. And once you find it, bingo. One of my friend's parents are almost 30 years apart. His dad is the older one. Yeah, this is a significant age difference, but even with that, there's some. Are they happy? Summer dream. Are they happy? But they didn't end up staying. Oh, but they didn't end up staying together because the only thing that brought them together was the attraction. Oof. Dang. Yuri, what is your age preference in dating? You know, I mean, we talked about biological clock, right? So I think that if, if in a perfect world, if I could make a choice, right, just for the sake of my children, my future children, then I guess I would say somewhere between 25 and 35, right? So if I'm dating a woman with the intention of long relationship, with the intention to have a family, then I think there would be the age just for the sole purpose of children. But then again, like if I'm going to, fall in love with somebody who's 37 or 38, you know, I think I might have to change it up because, I also realize now that there's some of these connections, you don't get a lot of them in life when you feel them. So, with that being said, Summer Dream, if I've met somebody a little bit older who are just incredible, you know, this could be a game changer. I don't know. So, biology standpoint and just safety of the offspring, I would say 25 to 35. I was so focused in the chat that I forgot the like. That's okay. You still can do it. Lean, purple drunk, consistent of Jolly Ranchers, Spite, and codeine. Goodness gracious. I have to teach you slang for real now. I feel like you think mean, strong ballerina talking code. Yeah, it feels that way. I think you guys like doing something different, but that's okay. Keep that coming. I had to piggyback off your energy and smash. Hulk smash? Because he said smash the like button if anyone's lost. Ironically, I just drank a Bang Energy drink and now I can lay down. These energy drinks, it's a serious business. It's a serious, serious thing. Bang Energy called Swirly Pop. That's perfect. That is perfect. Let's see some other comments. You guys are having too much fun in the chat. I like it. Cheyenne said, I was overhearing a couple guys talking and they said they don't want to date girl with no career ambitions. Yeah, they say that. They say that until they see an Instagram model with a big ass, and then all of a sudden career goes out the window. It's all relative, Cheyenne. Some men will talk a lot of shit too. It's kind of like it's kind of hard sometimes, separate the what's really going on from what people say. I tend to watch what people do. One said his girl was just a receptionist and he didn't like that she didn't want to go to school. If that receptionist can give him amazing family, can give him children, um, he might even leave her for a beautiful Instagram model, but he might regret it later when he feel emptiness inside because he realizes that Instagram model cannot give him the life and the things that the receptionist girl can give him. And so this is the dilemma for man. You think it's easy for man. It's not. Because the dilemma is, do you get a receptionist girl who may be average looking girl, but who can give you the family that you dream of? And maybe your you know desire to be with this amazing beautiful woman, you know, is not going to be fulfilled the way do you expect it to be fulfilled, right? Um, but you will have a family. And then maybe perhaps later you realize that the receptionist girl was everything you ever needed in your life. That could be the case. But the thing is that especially when you as a younger man, um, you think about beautiful model and you're trying to mold the beautiful model sometimes into the mother image figure, and that's just not possible sometimes. And this is dilemma for guys. But some men that have cross my paths find it odd that I know about a car that they do. That I know about the car more than they do. Another said he didn't like that his wife don't go to school. He said she just wants to be a baby maker and work at Aldi's. Yeah, I mean, like, I think some men will would love the woman who's just stay home and will take care of the kids. You know, some men, but also I think it depends on the man's financial situation, on the family's financial situation. Like if man doesn't make a lot of money, you need two incomes. This is where some problems come in too. You can't afford to live a good life, on the low income. So this is where the situations I feel like will arise, where they both will need to work, because you got to be able to afford a house payment, cars payment, all the insurances, all the BS, and then you're gonna have to be able to save for kids to go to college, or to travel. Everything, you know how it goes. Everything requires money. Everything. Sexual tension is the sauna story. Crash is enjoying my very Russian ballet teacher's accent in his strong hands, only body every time he corrected me. Goodness, strong ballerina. This is like turning into some good night stories. I have to go. It was a pleasure. Thank you for being here, for joining the chat. Please come back tomorrow. Yuri is innocent. I feel like a dirty old man now. Felicia, nobody is innocent. Nobody. I'm so glad I dated a variety in age difference. I learned something valuable from each and wouldn't change it. Yeah, I can say the same. I can say the same. The experience is not something that you can replace. It's an amazing thing. Let's do a quick vote. I love this conversation. Let's do a quick vote. Um, let's do a quick vote for the topic tomorrow that you'll be interested in knowing tomorrow. Um, let me see. Let me see. I think Cheyenne, you recommended some other things before. I think I still have a screenshot. Let me bring it up if I can. Oh, so I think one of the things that you said, his family not liking you, your family not liking him. You talk about interracial dating, um, pheromones and biological chemistry, fighting styles. How about family not liking your significant other? What are your thoughts about that? So give me thumbs up or yes. Give me hashtag yes if you would like to hear a topic tomorrow: family not liking your significant other. Family for the topic tomorrow. Give me hashtag yes if you would like to hear family not liking your significant other. Looks like we have some yeses. We have some yeses coming in. I have a lot to say on that. My mom always got something to say about the guys I date. Wonderful. So let's do that. I think this is a great topic. So tomorrow we're going to talk about. Um, I'm going to think how to frame it and how to title it, but the premise of it is going to be your family not liking who you are dating. Okay, my friends, this was so cool. This was so cool. We still went for almost 2 hours. It didn't feel like that though. It always go by fast. Um, so shout out to this subscriber first of all who shared her story with me. I was super touched. This really opened up, I think, a great conversation about the age gap and what that means. To really sum it all up, age gap is, I would say, it's subjective, right? It will work. It will not matter for some individuals, but they will certainly um, make some other couples' life more difficult. The bottom line is that there's plenty people around the world who make it work, and I don't think that it can be used solely just this factor alone as a reason why your relationship or dating cannot work. That is my verdict on this topic: gap, age gap in the relationship, and whether it matters or not. Okay. With that being said, tomorrow 9 p.m. we're going to talk about the topic that we decided on, what to do or situations involving your family not liking someone that you're dating. So thank you all very much for engaging, for your comments. Shout out to Felicia for amazing support. Thank you, every single one of you. Let's recognize some folks before we depart. Felicia is here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your amazing support. Appreciate you. Cheyenne is here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your suggestions. Becky is here. Thank you for sharing your personal stories and for hanging out. Heather is here. Appreciate your comments and engagement. Thank you so much. We have Strong Ballerina is here. Thank you for your good night stories and your abbreviations. If you're still watching, thank you, every single one of you. So um, I think Summer Dream was engaging a lot tonight. So it was cool to see you. Coejo was here earlier. Kaya was here earlier. Elvia Martinez was here. Not sure if you're still here, but thank you for joining. Kaya was here. Thank you for hanging out. Tara brought in a lot into conversation, asked a lot of questions. Thank you for that. That was awesome. So thank you, every single one of you. Tomorrow, I'm going to see you. I'm going to see you at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and we're going to talk about another amazing topic. Have a wonderful night. Have a great Tuesday. Be well, be healthy, be joyful, be amazing, and most importantly, be grateful. I'll catch you tomorrow, prototypes. Love.